We're up, we're live. Sorry, I was clicking on something. I I want to cover something that I hit on 2 weeks ago, but I think there's an opportunity here to refine that thinking and explain it a little more deeply. A couple people, and by a couple I mean two, one and a half, one direct and one indirectly, kind of brought it up, and I wanted to follow up with it, right? So here's the idea: is that I basically was saying the websites are living documents. You treat them as such. It's not something that you consider being done, that's antiquated thinking. And I wanted to expand on that because the challenge with that, and I didn't explain it in the video, is the leap from thinking that a website is a project that has a start and a finish or a completion date, right? But really, a business thrives on systems. What's the old adage? You don't rise to meet your meet your goals. You fall to the level of your systems, and business absolutely functions that way. You know, and that's why most people who treat their website like a project will find that you build it, launch it, and move on. But the internet, it doesn't really work that way anymore. If your site isn't evolving and constantly itself learning and gaining information that you can leverage, it's quietly falling behind. And I've hit on this in a few of these videos of the degradation of a website post launch that's just sitting there dormant like a trifold brochure that's collecting dust in the dentist's office or something. What I really want to touch on today is thinking about, or how to think about, treating the website like a system and what changes when you do that. And I touched on the old mental model a minute ago. Build, launch, and forget it. And these websites traditionally, like print ads, are like designed for aesthetics primarily. And if you don't believe me, then you've never heard anyone say, I don't like it, or it's not quite right, or make the logo bigger, right? Like, it wasn't designed necessarily for outcomes unless you're dealing with deep direct marketing people. Everything they do is designed specifically for outcomes, even if the ad is ugly. But they usually get customers anyway. So maybe there's a happy balance in there. Another one would be SEO, treating it kind of like a checkbox. Like, I want traffic from Google. But if you don't want to add content constantly, like weekly, then that's going to be, yeah, you check to the box, but it's not going to have ongoing contribution to the growth of the website, and you're certainly not going to get more traffic from Google. And oftentimes, lastly, with these sort of brochureware, set it and forget it websites, is that there's no feedback loop. There's no real learning, so the updates that come in the future are just aesthetically driven, or you let the website die on the vine and decay to a point where it's wrong enough to be worth investing in another project so we can set it and forget it again, which isn't really working anymore. And a lot of business, and that's going to become more prevalent here in the near future. Little Wayne Stradamus here, but agentic AI and AI as a design tool, like, there are applications you can just go to and say, design me a website that looks like this, or design a website that says these things for this type of business. And you're gonna get a good looking website these days. They all kind of look the same for the most part when they're produced by AI, but you can. Now, these are disposable. It's very rare that you can edit them or change them. They don't have a CMS. They rarely come connected with any sort of system for analytics or collection. That's a much more robust sort of project to work through. And those things would take like an entire day. Not bad, But again, probably disposable. So, or at least right here in this point in time in the February 2026, right? So the idea that a project has an end date and a business system doesn't is kind of what I'm harping on here. Um, there are no surprise rankings. There are no rankings that are going to make movement. You're not going to find traffic for keyword phrases that are not brand terms or the brand name if you're not adding content consistently. And oftentimes I run into confusion when it comes to like my company that offers a subscription instead of charging a project fee, right? So people are like, wait, you don't have to pay for the website or you don't have to pay for the project. Oh no, you are, but you're paying differently because what you're really investing in is a mental model for momentum instead of a set it, forget it brochureware thing, right? So think about it this way. A website now or in the recent past, even distant past, is the credibility engine of the business. It's also a diagnostics tool. It's your content hub, and it can be a learning hub. And when you're continuously creating and generating content, and you're continually going in and looking for those user experience signals, and you're continually researching keyword phrases or your offer or your market in AI tools like via AI research or even deep research with something like Notebook LM or something, you're getting valuable feedback from what it has sort of amalgamated from just a mass ton of content out there. But you're also getting information that can inform content opportunities, optimization opportunities, and business opportunities. And that feedback is critically important. So by making small weekly or even monthly, depending upon how much momentum is necessary, even monthly is amazing for a small business to make small, continuous improvements. They compound over time, right? So launch isn't a finish line. It's really a starting line. That's the way I've always referred to launches for websites that Resident Pixel Company has produced. And I think that it's the right mental shift. And I can appreciate not everyone's there with me, but hold on a second. We can be as clever as we want with the copy. Cleverness is valuable. Being able to hit the brand voice and deliver a benefit that's going to make someone take action can have a meaningful impact on the business. But generating traffic, controlling the outside, that's really hard to do without net new things to introduce ideas, thoughts, words, keyword phrases that can drive traffic back to your property. I'm producing here on YouTube. This absolutely drives traffic to my website. This absolutely drives traffic to other channels. And that's proof that it doesn't have to be on your website, but you have to be creating. Now, I do take these videos and my how-to videos and embed them on the website with a summary and the transcription. So those keyword phrases are readily available to the spiders from Mars and the spiders from Google and all of the places so that I can create relevance for the brands. And it's a simple thing to do for me because I don't mind yapping into camera. If you're not comfortable with that and you're better at writing, then writing, blogging, whatever you want to refer to it as, may be the way to go. Or it could be some other content type, whether it's creating audio with podcast or generating brochures and nonstop creativity and content. There's so many things that can be done. And for founders, and I know some of you are founders, the key here would be to stop asking, is my site done? And I get asked that a lot. We published 5 websites this week. We launched 5 websites in 1 week. Terrible idea, by the way. I will sleep this weekend. Stop asking if a website is done. I think therein lies the first mistake that we start repeating over and over again, being concerned with whether or not something is done, because it's very different than being concerned with something is just ready to represent you well and ready to be something that we can use to build momentum. So what I would start asking is, what did my site learn this week? I often go and look at the analytics of my websites and my clients' websites to say, find keyword phrases that are not branded, or find other opportunities in the traffic or the lingering, the number of pages viewed per visit. Where are people getting stuck? Because those all represent opportunities. And for marketing folks, I would say, think in diagnostics before we think in tactics. And I know that's probably nothing shocking if you're an experienced or veteran marketer, that you observe before optimizing. And that's why you do things like keyword strategy, even if it's just done with AI. But honestly, this is one of the most sensitive conversations that I have routinely with prospects and clients who want to rank for a keyword phrase that is brand or industry specific. Oftentimes it's jargon. It's like, we solutionize A, B, and C, and they're not using consumer or the consumer language or the language of their clients, even their ideal client profile. And there's no search volume for those phrases. I have this conversation all the time. If there's no search volume, you could probably own that keyword phrase if you want, but it's not going to drive any traffic to the website. It's not going to be meaningful to the business. So what is? And the next, and the reason why that conversation becomes difficult is because the alternative keyword phrases that are plain language that humans actually put into search or ChatGPT or something, they don't want to say that stuff on their pages. And therein lies the problem. You have to say those things if you want to be found for those things. And and that's not, SEO is one thing. SEO and AIO, that's only one aspect of it. It could be in headline copy, it could be in landing pages for paid search or paid advertising in, say, physical outdoor, or in Facebook. Like, it runs the gamut. Um, and that's the way I start having conversations to manage expectations, in that I try to keep in mind and alter my language to imply or help people get to the point where they agree or understand that really buying a website, people don't buy websites anymore. Certainly not people that are finding success, right? They're investing in momentum and opportunity. And listen, different people, different founders, different marketing people have different levels of comfort with that, or different systems that will allow them to take advantage of that to different levels. And an example of that would be clients who are constantly asking for content additions or updates to their website, and others who will go dark for a few months and then give you a big list of things that they want to do. And it's fine either way, but it does illustrate who has the system internally, or at least internalized, to say, I need to add these things because I know I need to be successful. And then the ones who never make any updates for years on end often fall into this, what have you done for me lately? And they kind of have forgotten that this is a momentum engine. And if we're not putting our foot on the gas, momentum's really hard to find. And I'll say this. In the future, here, 2026, the near future, I'm not going to project out into the way out future, because we're probably all host, but I will say that the winners are not the people with the prettiest websites, which pains me to say, because I came up as a designer and I love making gorgeous looking websites. But they're the people who keep showing up and improving them over time. And that's what I meant when I was talking about websites being a living document. The winners aren't the people who have the prettiest things. They're the people who are showing up to improve them constantly. And that's kind of what I wanted to hit on today. So look, if you're treating your website like a project or a system, let me know. Like, drop a comment. Certainly subscribe. Likes and subscriptions or subscribers really help send a signal to YouTube that you found this valuable and can help other people who find this helpful and valuable find this content as well. Even for these lives, they kind of archive, I know, in their own little box inside of my YouTube page, but I've been doing this for just over a year now, and I've gone live about 120 some odd times, and I'm loving it. And next week, I'll have another cool systems thinking level topic to cover, and I hope you would join me. So, hey, have a great weekend. I'll talk to you soon. Like, subscribe. Appreciate.